Okay, welcome back, everybody. Whether you're listening to this on our podcast or watching this on our YouTube channel, it's my pleasure to introduce another teacher feature this week. My name is Ryan Smith. I'm Executive Director of Teaching and Learning, but I'm not the person you came here to listen to this week. We're fortunate this week to get to learn from one of our third grade dual language teachers from Anderson Mill Elementary School, Mr. Miguel Dávila. He was gracious enough with his time recently to sit down with our Area Director of Academics from the Westwood Learning Community, Dr. Sania Ali, and they went in depth on some of the things that Miguel has learned, some successes he's had, some mistakes he's made, and some ways that he feels that his story can lend itself to some learning around the district. So Dr. Ali, just tell us a couple things that our listeners or viewers can learn from Miguel this week.
Thanks, Ryan. I had the great pleasure of speaking with Miguel Dávila over at Anderson Mill, and he had some great nuggets to share with us as he is navigating hybrid learning. And he's been doing this for quite some time now, probably since the beginning of the school year. So we had the great conversation around how does he really build community between students that are in his classroom and those who are streaming in from home. And so he talks about how he gives time for the students to connect, to talk. That was one of the things that students asked him for. And so he really provides that time for students to connect together across the two learning modes that he has. Another thing he really talks about is the planning that it takes to really make this happen smoothly in the classroom. And you can imagine that trying to navigate two different cohorts of students in one live session can be quite challenging. So he really gives us some good insight into how he manages that piece. And then the last piece is really how he works with his team and how he works with the students themselves and the parents, and how he builds, again, that community, but also talks about some of the challenges he's facing and has faced, and then talks about some of the strategies he's used to really overcome them. So great conversation. We hope you enjoy it. So back to you, Ryan.
All right, thank you, Sonia, and thank you again in advance to Mr. Dávila for his graciousness, like I said earlier, with his opening up his learning with the rest of us this week. And make sure if you are watching or listening that you listen all the way or watch all the way through to the end, and we'll share a code word at that point for you to win some nice prizes for teaching and learning. So without any further ado, then we're going to move right over to our feature this week, and they're going to take it away. Thank you.
Okay. If you'll just give us a little introduction of who you are and where you work and what grade levels you teach.
Absolutely. So I'm Miguel Dávila. I teach in Anderson Mill, and at Anderson Mill I teach third grade dual language. This is my fourth year here at Anderson Mill.
Thank you. So you're teaching dual language right now, and you are teaching in a hybrid model, meaning you have students who are in class with you and they're also streaming in from home. So we're going to be exploring some of how you manage that piece, and what are some successes you found, what resources have you used, and also what some of your challenges may have been as you've been setting up your classroom. And so my first question for you is, when you first decided to teach in person and virtual students simultaneously, what were some of the things you had to really think through before you started?
Well, to be honest, it would have to be what was going to be easier for me to manage. Like, what was it going to be that I could do, that I could serve both students here in my classroom and at home in the best way possible, but in an approachable manner, I guess. So my thought was just to have them all at the same time. That would be I would be in control of what was happening most of the time. And I would have the chance with the opportunity to tell them what to do when they would go away in their homes to work on their own. That will give me that chance ahead of time, instead of just sending work home and then working independently. I felt like that was not as effective. Like I wanted to give them the small explanation, small introduction to what we were going to be working throughout the day, and then they could go and work on their own. So that was my idea. So I want them all at the same time, and then you go and work on your own for a little bit.
Great. So I had an opportunity to come see your classroom, and the setup that you have is very well put together. And so can you tell us a little bit, the audience, I got to see it. So can you kind of draw a picture for us of how you have your room set up?
Yes. So I have that big screen on a corner of my room. That's like my
The flat panel screen?
yes. That's my heart of the room, and then all of the desks are pointing to it. So everyone on the other side of the screen can see everything that is happening in my classroom, and all of my students in my classroom can see what's going on with everyone in their houses. So we can we are seeing each other the whole time. We're face to face, and I have the chance to walk around, and everyone's seeing me as well as I'm seeing them. So I have my own laptop on a separate desk where I work, like I send work, or I kind of like give instructions directly, where I show direct instruction with my camera, but everything else is happening on the flat screen.
Right. So how do you manage the echo piece in the room?
We only use headphones, so we are not allowed to speak without the microphone. So when I am interacting with everyone, I'm the only one speaking. So that took some time for them to understand that there's only one speaker, and they are eager to talk, and it took quite some time to explain why, right? So I let them do it, and they had to go through the feedback, and then they understood why. So that's a problem with the audio, I think. And so one solution I found is that I need this to be wireless. So I'm not stuck to the laptop. We got some here. The campus was nice enough to find some stuff for us, but I don't think is what we need right now. It's headphones with microphone, wireless. That's what we need to make it work. But that really helps with the feedback and the problem with the audio.
Right. So as you were putting all this plan together, and you got into the classroom with the students, and the students came and they were streaming in as well. So as far as now, we're a quarter into the school year, 9 weeks later. Can you tell me a little bit about what's been working really well for you?
I guess the organizing the times. Everyone knows when to jump in. Everyone knows what to do. So setting up the routines at the beginning of the school year, either here or at home, that really worked towards like having a structure. When I had kids coming from home here, there was a little bit of a change for them, and they had a hard time adjusting. So I had to keep that structure in place. So now it's perfect. Now I have like it's been 2 weeks now, or the week and a half. So, and all of them are adjusting. And since then, I guess that's the structure. That's like, I'm pretty sure their routines is what you need to have in place, because besides that, you can pretty much plan around that and make it happen. Other thing is planning ahead of time. There's a lot of planning behind this. I would say I'm planning around 60 hours, or maybe not, maybe more, a week, just for this to happen, besides all of the other things we have to do for our job. But just the planning takes a lot of time, because now you have your schedule and your structure is in place, the routines are in place, but now you need to have the things for them to do, and that's really hard, because you don't have enough time to expand on activities. So you need really be very intentional with your activities and with your direct instruction, and then your independent work has to be tied to that. So there's a lot of thinking and a lot of planning behind all of this, and that's what is really taking most of the time.
So as far as students that are in class with you in person and the students who are streaming in, the virtual students, are they doing the same activities mostly?
They are doing exactly the same things.
Right.
Yep.
And when do your virtual students go off to do independent? And while they're doing independent work, what are the students in person doing?
So I have reading groups going on already. So some kids are doing Dreambox, some kids are doing reading stations, and some kids are with me in a reading group directly. Everyone at home is working on Schoology, on the assignments for the day.
Great. Do you ever create, or are there opportunities for your in-person students and your virtual students to, have you tried the breakout feature yet in Google Meet?
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
How's that going?
They love it. They love it. They had been asking for something like that since the beginning. They were like, "Hey, I want to use your meeting link to meet another student," which I told them they can't, of course. But the breakout rooms give them a chance to talk to each other, and sometimes I give that as a reward. Sometimes we do it just to have discussions about what we're doing. But again, I mean, I only have like 30, 35 minutes for direct instruction. So it's not enough time for them to be creative and work in groups. But it's a good tool for them to talk to each other. That is really helping.
Talk to me a little bit about, so you're touching on the idea of building community in your class between the two cohorts of students that are one streaming in, one in person. So talk to us a little bit about, you've been doing this for a while now. How have you connected the two together to really build that community feel as if the virtual students were with you in the classroom?
I'll say that again, last part.
So for your students who are streaming in, who are not physically there with you, how are you building that community, connecting them to the students that are in the classroom? So
every morning we have our morning meetings. We have our SEL going on. So there's a lot of talking. We're supposed to be doing it for 15 minutes. I let them talk way more than that. And at the beginning of the school year, it was even more. But I guess that's what is being helping them connecting with each other. They know each other from last year, but connecting with me too, because I can hear them. I can listen to their needs. Sometimes, I mean, it's supposed to be good news. Sometimes they want to bring up bad news, and we have to deal with it as a group, as a team. So after a while, I started doing other things like scavenger hunts, stuff that is fun for them to do at the same time that we are talking with each other. And at some point, it felt natural. It was like, okay, we're doing this, and we disconnected. It was like, so now what? So now what do we do?
Yeah.
We felt so connected with it that it felt kind of wrong at the beginning. It felt that it was working. But I mean, now we keep doing it in the morning. Is a little bit less of our time, but they're looking forward to that. Like, that's one of the highlights of our meetings. We have multiple meetings throughout the day, and that's one they really own. That's their time, and they share. I guess that's what makes it important to them.
That's great. That's a way to give students voice as well, right? To be an active member of their learning and giving you feedback on what's working and what's not working. And so along those lines, how do you think students are feeling about being in this sort of hybrid environment?
I have a few students that are still adjusting to be virtually. Like they see this side. I tell them, like, we're doing exactly the same thing. Don't feel we're like having a party on this side and you are on the other. So we're doing exactly the same thing you're doing at home. But I see that they maybe need a small group kind of like talk, and sometimes we do that, and I guess it's just hard for them to adjust to the situation, and I don't even know how to describe it. It's hard for me to tell how they're feeling on the other side of the screen, and frustrating, and everything else, I guess. So I can't really tell what's going on, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it's also new to everyone right now.
Yes, and so we're dealing with this together and finding pathways to solve, or not solve, but maybe deal with these situations. I keep saying that, but that's all I can say, I guess.
Right. So what are some of the benefits that you see that are coming out of this kind of situation?
I will go back to the beginning. Do you have really control of what's going on in regards of what everyone is doing? That's the main benefit I see. I can really have my groups where I want them to be, just like if they were here. I know they are working on science because it's 8:25 to 8:40. I know they should be doing science, and I'm expecting those assignments to start coming in at 10 maybe. So after that, we move to reading, and I know what's going on, So that's virtually for my group in here. It's exactly the same thing. I know who's doing reading. I know who's on Dreambox. I know who's doing whatever I'm expecting for them to do. And for until now, I can see that is it's working towards a beneficial thing for everyone, and they are eager to do it too. So because we change from thing to thing so quick, that is not boring to them.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely not. When I walked in your classroom, everyone was engaged and reading through the book together, and it was quite a scene to see, and one that you should be proud of for sure for what you've been able to accomplish. So along those lines, what do you want others to know about what you've been doing so far, and what have you learned, and what advice might you have for fellow colleagues?
The planning, for sure. They have to understand that there's a lot of planning involved, and that it has to go behind the curtains. Also, that is just like with everything, like the way we teach, our teaching styles have a lot to do with it. I like to put on a show. I like the reactions. I like how they smile, how they laugh, and not everyone is like that. And it's just my way to keep them to keep it together for myself, because I enjoy it too. I mean, that's part of how I teach. And again, not everyone's like that. So find your own teaching style that is going to work with what you're doing. Don't try to do what I'm doing or what someone else is doing. Try to kind of like direct it to a way you can manage your time in a proficient way or a smart way, and then take it from there. But I mean, planning and teaching style would be my main advice.
Great, thank you for that. Is there anything else you would like to share?
Nope. I mean, not really. I guess some of us feel kind of weird because parents are around, and after a while it feels natural, and parents are even they are not on the screen or on what we can see, they are there. Yeah. And don't think about them, and don't worry about them. that happened to me at the beginning. I was so worried about what I was going to say and the way I was going to say it, but that's not who I am, and that's not how I teach. And after a while, they start sending emails like, "Hey, thanks for being like creative, honest, for saying this thing, saying whatever." And I realized, like, well, that's what I was supposed to do since the beginning. So don't worry about the parents. They are going to be okay with whatever you are doing for their kids. Like they're grateful. Yeah.
Well, we're grateful for what you're doing, and that's really great advice. And we appreciate you for being, one of the pioneers and going out there and it's a dual language classroom, and so you have a lot going on all at once. But you took on this challenge and were able to do it beautifully. Though yes, challenges still exist, and you're overcoming a lot of them and finding ways and strategies to get them out of your way so you can do what you need to do as a great teacher. And so I appreciate you for taking some time with us and sharing your thoughts and ideas. I know everyone will appreciate hearing from you, and they might contact you and say, "How did you do this?" And things like that. So there's a lot to learn from each other, and the more we share, the more we support each other in this way. So we really appreciate you taking this time, and we'll be seeing you more in the classroom, and we'll be back for what more you learn in a few more weeks. So thank you so much, Miguel.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Dávila and Dr. Ali, for that conversation today. I know I picked up a lot, and I hope you did. All of our listeners and viewers out there, hope you did as well. We're going to continue to be featuring teachers every week here on our blog, on our video channel, as well as on our podcast. So if you haven't subscribed already, make sure that you do wherever you like to listen, or subscribe on YouTube right here. And you make sure that you'll be one of the first to know when we put a new episode out. But our goal is to do it every week and to continue to share some of the learnings that we're getting together, as well as some of the successes and some of the things that we tried, it didn't work, so we're going to do something different. So thank you for your time again. Last week, we gave away a copy of Connecting with Students Online. So that winner, I don't have that name in front of me, but I'll put it in the email. They'll get a free copy of that book. And this week, our code word, if you listened all the way to the end and you're watching or listening right now, if you email the word blended to teaching_learning@roundrockisd.org, we'll enter you in the drawing to win a copy of our book this week, which is Blended, Using Disruptive Innovation to Improve Schools. We'll send that your way. Again, this week's code word is blended. So if you want to have a chance to win that book, please email that word to teaching_learning@roundrockisd.org. And thank you again for your time. Make it a great week. And we'll be right back here next week. We'll see you then.